Okay, in this 9-ball layout, all of the balls are out in the open and we have a shot on the 1 ball. Now even though the balls are out in the open, there are problem areas everywhere. And top players usually recognize these areas immediately. So we're going to go through the proper way to run these balls and some problem areas that a player may run into. We're also going to discuss how you should plan out your pattern. Now, the 1 and 2 are right next to each other, but the 3 ball is on the other end of the table. So I'm going to need the correct angle on the 2 ball to get on the 3. So before I shoot the 1, I figure out where I need to put the cue ball for the 3 ball. So here, I need a good angle on the 2 ball so I can go 2 rails and end up on the end rail next to the 3 ball. If I can end up here, this will give me a nice angle to get on the 4 ball. This is what I'm thinking about before I shoot the 1 ball. But here's what happens when you don't plan it out correctly. Here, I've pocketed the 1 ball and I've left the cue ball on the 2 ball line. Now, what was once an easy run out now becomes extremely difficult and my run may be over. Here, I've ended up on the other side of the 2 ball line and getting position on the 3 ball is going to be difficult. Okay, I'm on the correct side of the 2, so now I'm just going to go 2 rails for the 3 ball. But when I shoot this shot, I have to be aware that if I end up short, I'm going to have no shot on the 3 ball. Here, I may be able to cut the 3 ball in, but the 8 ball will stop my cue ball from heading back to the other end of the table. I have to be aware of that 3 ball line when I'm playing this position shot. Here, once again, I've ended up above the 3 ball line, so getting position on the 4 ball is extremely difficult. Okay, so now I've ended up in the correct position, and I can see that the contact line when I strike the 3 ball is going to send the cue ball to the right area for the 4 ball. And I want to end up on this side of the 4 ball line when I play position. This way I can just roll the cue ball off the side rail for position on the 5 ball. So this is what I'm thinking about when I'm shooting the 3 ball. I now know that if I end up on this side of the 4 ball line, it's going to be difficult to get the proper position on the 5 ball. Or if I end up straight in on the 4 ball, I'm going to have to leave myself a long shot on the 5 ball to get on the 6 ball. So these are things I'm thinking about when shooting the 3 ball. So now I know to get the right position on the 4 ball, I need to hit the side rail near this 3rd diamond to get the right angle. So this 3rd diamond becomes my target. Okay, I've ended up on the right side of the 4 ball, but before I shoot the 4, I need to determine where I need to be on the 6 ball after pocketing the 5 ball. Ideally, I need the cue ball to end up here in the 5 so I can drift the cue ball over to the middle of the table for the 6 ball. If I end up here, I should leave a nice angle to get on the 7 ball. So this is what I'm thinking about when I shoot the 4 ball. I now know that I don't want to end up straight in on the 5 ball, because then it's going to be nearly impossible to get to the other side of the 6 ball line. The best I can hope for is to draw back below the line, making for a more difficult position shot on the 7 ball. So I've ended up with a nice angle in the 5 ball, so I just need to drift over to the middle of the table for the 6 ball. Now I can go 2 rails and end up with a nice angle in the 7 ball, but before I shoot the 6 ball I need to figure out where I need to be for the 7 ball. If I end up here, that should give me a nice angle to get position on the 8 ball. Now I don't have to go 2 rails for position on the 7 ball. I can go off the end rail and head down to this area for position on the 7 ball. But if we look at this shaded area, this is where I need to end up to have ideal position on the 7 ball. So there isn't much room for error. And I could play position for the other side of the 7 ball, but once again my speed control needs to be pretty good. But if we look at the 2 rail option, we can see that the cue ball is traveling within the shaded area as it comes off the rail. So even if I hit the cue ball a bit easy, I'm still going to have the correct angle on the 7 to get on the 8 ball. So before I pocket the 7 ball, I need to figure out where I need to be on the 8 to get position on the 9 ball. If I end up here on the 8, I should be able to get back up table for the 9 ball. So now I'm just going to pocket the 7 and drift down for the 8 ball. But one thing I don't want to do is end up straight in on the 8 ball. If this happens, I may have to draw back for the 9 ball in the top right hand corner pocket. So here I have the correct angle on the 8 ball, but now I have 2 choices. I can spin the cue ball 2 rails for shape on the 9 ball, But as we can see, my speed control has to be pretty good. If I hit this shot too hard or not hard enough, I'll be in trouble. The other option is to go one rail back up table, and once again there's little room for error. So if I shoot this shot, my goal should be to try and stop that cue ball in the middle of that shaded area. In this run out, all the balls are once again wide open. But just like the other layout, there are many ways we can run into trouble and end our run. So here we are, we're straight in on the one ball, but before I shoot the one ball, I need to determine where I need to be in the 3 to get on the 4. Ideally, I would like to be here so I can have a nice angle to get back for the 4 ball. So when I'm on the 1 ball, I need to figure out the best way to get the cue ball on the end rail for the 3 ball. I can draw the cue ball back for the 2 in the side. The only problem with that is if I draw back too far, I could end up on the other side of the 2 ball line. Or, if I don't draw back far enough, I'll end up with too much angle on the 2, making the position on the 3 a bit tricky. But if I were to just kill the cue ball where the 1 ball is, the angle that I'll have on that 2 ball will be perfect for getting on the 3. Sometimes having the perfect angle on a ball is better than trying to play position for an easier shot. So here I just killed the cue ball and I have a natural angle to get down table for the 3 ball. But before I shoot the 2 ball, I want to look at all my options. I could play to come up short on the 3. For instance, I could play for position right here on the 3 ball. But the only problem with that is if I end up short, I'll end up without a shot. The advantage of playing for position on the end rail is that if I hit it too hard, I'll still have a shot on the 3. And if I hit it too easy, I'll probably still have a makeable shot on the 3 ball. So the cue ball is at the right position now for the 3 ball. But before I shoot the 3, I need to examine the positioning on the 4 ball. One option is to play position for the 4 ball in the side pocket. If I do play for position in the side pocket, this is the area I'll need to land in to have ideal shape. So if I do play position for the side pocket, I just have to make sure I don't end up short on the position. Since we're playing position into an open space, this type of shot requires good speed control. But if you're playing good and have a good feel for the speed of the table, then this is a good option. If you're unsure about the speed of the table, this second option may be a bit better. The second option is to shoot harder and bounce the cue ball off the other side rail. This gives us a target off that rail that we can bounce off of for shape. If we shoot this shot too hard, we're still going to have a shot on the 4, and if we end up short of that second rail, we may still have a shot for the side pocket. Okay, so we've done the second option, and we've ended up here for the 4 ball. But before we shoot the 4, we have to look at the 6 and 7 ball. Here the 7 ball is on the other side of the table from the 6 ball, which means we're going to need a really good angle on the 6 to get on the 7. Ideally, we would like to end up here for the 6 ball. We can just go 2 rails for a nice angle on the 7. So this is what I'm thinking about when I'm shooting the 4 ball. I have to figure out the best way to get on the end rail for the 6 ball. If I just stay on this side of the 5 ball line, that should give me a natural angle for ending up on the end rail. Okay, so now we've gotten our angle in the 5. Now we just need to drift down to the end rail for the 6 ball. But there are other options for positioning. For instance, we can drift over here for position on the 6 ball. And if you have a good feel for the speed, this isn't a bad option. But you're playing position into open space. The advantage of using the rails for positioning is that you can be a lot more accurate since you have a target to shoot for on the rail. Remember, when you're using the rails for position, always try to give yourself a target on the final rail to shoot for. Otherwise, you may end up hitting too high in the rail or too low and be left with a more difficult shot. For instance, in this example, I didn't pick out a target on the final rail, and I ended up coming down too far for position on the 7. Now it's going to be a lot tougher to go back up table for the 8 ball. Here, my target is the 3rd diamond on the side rail. If I can get near this target, I should have a nice angle on the 7 to get back for the 8 ball. So there are 2 ways to play position for the 8 ball. I can play for perfect position on the 8 for the side pocket, but whenever you're playing position into open space, you always have to be aware of your speed. I ended up short of my target area. Now I either have to bank the 8 or play safe. This time I'm going to pick a target on the end rail to bounce off of If I hit this shot short, I still have position on the 8. If I hit it too hard, I'm still going to be okay. So going off the end rail gives us more room for air.